So, hello, I'm here at the Buckeye Oil Terminal Tank Farm. You can see it in the distance. Here in the 48217 Ecorse River Rouge section of Southwest Detroit. This is a section of Detroit that has been inundated with heavy infrastructure, a lot of it having to do with the fossil fuel industry, whether it's the Marathon Oil Refinery that we showed you earlier, or this Buckeye Oil Tank Farm. Buckeye Terminals is an operator of tank farms across the country, and they just so happen to have one here that's sitting right adjacent to a Little League baseball park. As you can see here, there's the park behind me, and you can probably see the foul pole in the distance right there. That's the left field foul pole, and beyond that, beyond the home run fence, is the oil tank. This is a community that I've come to know, as I mentioned, by way of Teresa Landrum, one of the Sentinel Award winners at Frac Tracker last year. She's an amazing woman. She does some amazing work getting the word out, taking the fight to the industry all across Detroit. She's currently running for city council in the city of Detroit. So we're wishing her luck, because the industry does need to be held accountable, and people like Teresa are the ones doing that. I'd like to think that Frac Tracker also does a little bit of that by way of the maps that we produce, the data that we create, and some of the issues we raise. One of the things that I like to do quite a bit of is get the drone out, this drone that I've been working with for several years, and put it up over communities like Ecorse and River Rouge, and look at the proximity of these houses, of these neighborhoods that you can kind of see here in the background. Look at the proximity of those neighborhoods to industry. Often, way too often, this industry and all of their needs are sited smack dab in the middle of neighborhoods. Whether it's here in Detroit, southeast side of Chicago, and various other spots around the country. Here you see Buckeye Oil Terminal's Southwest Detroit oil tank farm with a capacity of at least 400 to 450,000 barrels of oil. And then you also see Shell's processing plant and Carmeuse River Rouge lime plant in the distance. All of this infrastructure is in a residential section of River Rouge on the border of Southwest Detroit. We put this drone up actually in the John Kapowski baseball park to demonstrate the proximity of all this infrastructure to primarily African-American neighborhoods in Southwest Detroit, the communities of River Rouge and Ecorse. Another thing that I think that's really striking about this is how compact, how concentrated all this infrastructure is in cities like Detroit, whereby it's really hard to determine who you're really looking at in some respects. So where does one company's property and or impacts end, and where does the other company's property or impacts begin? Very hard to determine that. Even putting a drone up in the air, it's still hard to see, property boundaries and the like. Basically, you just have a whole group of companies operating, and in this case, operating right in the middle of a neighborhood. So this is kind of the environmental impacts run amok by way of several companies in Southwest Detroit. One of the things that we do with the drone, as I said, is we put it up and collect images and photos and footage of the infrastructure as it's changed over time, or some of the emissions issues associated with it, whether it's flaring, other sorts of emissions coming off of these sites. And with this site specifically, what I've been interested in is the secondary containment used to contain all of the stuff that comes off of these tanks, these oil tanks, because the fact is that a lot of this containment of this stuff is dubious and breaking down, and the fact that we're still siting this in neighborhoods is really not a good thing. But this work takes resources, it takes money, it takes the great work that we do, but also the great connections that we've made with Teresa Landrum, Doug Wood, and others that I've met throughout Michigan and Ohio and elsewhere. And in order to keep doing that work, we've got to raise money. We hope that you find the value in the resources that we create, the data that we create, the imagery that we create, the connections that we've made, the stories that we've told. And if you do find value in all of that, please help us out. We're not too proud to ask, and we don't ask often, but when we do, we mean it. So if you have time, if you have any spare change lying around, we'd love for you to consider allocating it to the work that we do, because we think it's important. We hope you do too. Thanks for taking a look at this field day, for giving us your time, and for considering us for potential donation. Signing off.